Hey everyone and welcome to the club. Today we'll be diving into a sketch illustration of Deadpool that's more than just doodling. Sketches are powerful tools for artists of all levels. And in today's lesson we'll explore what they are, why they matter, and how this differs from finished artwork. For today's lesson, we're going to need some paper, a pencil, and an eraser. I've got the Staedtler fine-tooth sketch pad, and I'm going to start this rough sketch with this NicPro 0.7mm mechanical pencil with a 2B graphite stick, and I'm also going to use this kneaded eraser. Now this technique that we're going to go through is probably the easiest way to capture a portrait with right proportions. So we want to start with the rough shapes first before we get into details. So let's start by adding a guideline coming down the center of our page. So we'll start at the very top in the middle. Now I'm going to use a light grip, just lightly work our way down towards the bottom of our page. And this line doesn't have to be perfect. So you can see that I'm using these short lines coming all the way down towards the bottom. Now we want to place a circle along the top of our page. So along the top, in the middle, stretch a line going out toward the left and then the right. Now these two lines are going to help us create a circle along the top of our page. So from that center point, we're just going to move up to right about here. Let's mark off the top of our circle. Now I want to measure this distance from that center point down towards the bottom. So right about here, we're just going to eyeball this. And we'll do the same thing across this horizontal line. So measuring the distance from the center all the way over toward the left, just making sure that this distance is the same. Doing the same thing on the right. Now we can also use the side of our pencil to measure that distance. So just using the tip, marking this off with our fingers, and going out towards the side, and then the bottom. Now to create our circle, all we need to do is connect the center point of each mark with a curve. So I'm going to start with the top left, and the circle doesn't have to be perfect. We're just using this as a guide. And we can always come back and just readjust if we need to. But for this purpose, we're just going to stick to these lines, going all the way around, and just smooth this out. From here, we're going to continue to work on our proportions. So let's start with the line coming down the side of our circle, starting with the left, coming all the way down towards the bottom. And we're going to stretch this up towards the top. Let's do the same thing on the right, coming all the way down and then up. We want to make sure that the distance between these 2 points is the same along the bottom. Now with this portrait, we're going to tilt the head forward, so the eyes are going to sit along the bottom of that circle. So let's start by drawing another line going across from left to right. And it's okay to extend that past the lines on the side, because we'll eventually erase this out. And now we're going to add a gap in between the eyes. So from that center line, let's move over towards the left. So right about here, let's go up towards that center line, and then taking this distance over towards the right and doing the same thing. Now to help us set up the rest of the proportions, we're going to start by adding a little bit of detail and shape to the eyes. So right where the bottom of this line meets the circle, angle the eye going up and then out. Go straight out towards the side. Now I'm going to round out the bottom of the eye, coming down towards that bottom line and pulling that in. Just want to make sure that we're balancing this out on both sides. And then from the center line, we're going to move down to right about here, mark off the tip of the nose, going straight out towards the left and right. Come down again to right about here. It's going to mark out the chin. And again, we can readjust the length if we need to later. Now from here, we start to add some shape to the jawline. Let's start from the eye line. Angle this down and in towards the jaw. We're going to change the angle, coming down and in towards the chin. Now we're just looking at the space in between on either side, making sure that they line up. And then from the jaw, we're just going to slope the neck coming down and out towards that bottom point, towards that corner. Let's go back up to the top, slope the shoulders, coming down and then out. Now we just completed the first stage, which is defining the proportions. Now let's go in and add a second level of detail. Now let's start with those big patches around the eye. So starting from the inside edge of the left eye, we're going to step in. It's going to angle this up and then out towards this point. Let's do the same thing on the right. Just stepping over, going up towards that top point. And then from here, it's going to angle this up and bend that out towards the outside of the head. And we just want to make sure we go up to the same height on either side. Now halfway between this point and the top of the head, right here, it's going to mark this off on both sides. Let's draw the outside of that trim. Just going to bend this out and then come down to right about here, just outside that circle. And then from here, it's going to bend this around the eye, come down and then in towards that bottom line. Let's curve this in and then back up towards the inside starting point. Now again, we can come back and just readjust the shape later. Just want to define the right shape and size. Now these lines that we create along the inside is going to help us define the shape of the face. So from these 2 points, we want to curve the jawline coming in and then down towards the chin. So you can see that the cheeks sink inward. Now we're going to continue to add some more detail. Let's start from the base of the neck. We're going to add a curve coming down from the left side and across the middle and then back up. Now I don't want to add too much detail across the body. I want to bring the focus back in towards the face. From these 2 points, angle this down and then out. Now the ears are going to be placed along this gap along the side of the head. So we're just going to bump this out, starting up here, going out and back in. Just a slight bump coming out around the ears. And then at this point, we're going to add a little point. So we're just going to extend this out, angle this down towards the side of the head. Pull this in and up. So the stitch is going to poke out along the side, along the top. Now from the chin, I'm just going to round out the chin. Again, just adding some more shape. And then I'm going to add a fold and curve inside the brow, going up the middle and then back down, starting from the inside corners of the eyes. Let's go to the nose, add a slight curve. Now with a rough sketch in place, I'm going to go back and clean this up by erasing some of these guidelines. Now that we cleaned up our drawing, we're left with a simple contour sketch of our portrait. Now I'm going to switch my pencils to this 0.9mm pencil with a 2B graphite stick. And now we're going to start adding some more details and defining the shapes. And I'd like to start with the eyes. I'm just going to roll this up from the brow, coming up. And just going to extend this out towards the side. And we'll fold the eyelid underneath. So just going to bend this across and then down. Now what we do on the left, we're just going to mirror this over on the right. So going across the top, adding that fold. And then bending the eye down. On the outside, just going to curve this down and in. Just bend this back up and then in towards the inside. Now I'm going to start playing around with some thick and thin lines. So along the outside edge, I'm just going to thicken this up. Also along the bottom edge of the brow. And we're going to accentuate that fold. So I'm going to come in across the middle. Just going to add a few wrinkles. Let's pull this in and up. Now I'm just going to bend this up and then out. A few more folds going up. And we're also going to add some going across the bridge of the nose. And we'll start to bend these down. Go underneath the eye. Just going to add a thick fold and bevel along the bottom edge of the eye coming in. Now you can see that I'm starting to layer in the details as we go. Now from this point up here, bend this up and then out. From this top point, I'm just going to aim towards that line and just fade that out. So the highlight's going to sit in this area. So we don't want to have a hard line going in across that area. Start adding some detail around that trim. Now we can start to modify the shape going up. Just going to give this a slight bend. Let's enhance those folds a little bit. Going out towards the side. And you can see along the bottom, along the cheeks, we're just going to bend this in. And this will enhance the shape of the cheekbones. Also want to add a stitch line coming down the center of the mask. So we're going to start right in the center, just slightly over toward the left. I'm just going to add a dark line going up. I want to add a thick trim. So I'm just going to add a thinner line going up on the right. And from the top of the head, we're just going to pull this down. Again, going a little bit darker on the left side. And that stitching going up towards the top of the head. I just want to trace that along the bottom. I'm just going to push this around the ear, back in towards the jaw. Now I'm just going to expand the jaw a little bit further on the outside, giving it a little bit more of a heroic proportion. I'm just going to round out the jaw, pull that back in. Now along the base of the neck, we're going to add some wrinkles and folds. So we're going to start from the side, come down and in. We just want to fade that in towards the inside. It's going to add some layers. So stepping down, going around and then in. Add a couple more. And then repeat that on the right side. And then from the side, going up and out. Just going to wrap this strap going around the neck. Round out the inside and curve this down and out. Let's go back up to the top. Add some shape to the shoulders. Now I'm going to separate the neck and chest area in half. So coming in toward the center. It's going to round out the inside, come down the middle, and add a seam. Go back and add that stitch line, adding a little bit of thickness along the inside. And again, you can see that I left that little gap right here, just to push the highlight in that space. From the center, coming down the middle, up from the nose and down, and then from the chin going up. Now we're going to do one final cleanup before we get into the details and shading. Now we're going to go back and start adding our thick and thin lines and just adding some more contrast to our drawing. So starting back at the eyes. Now I'm just going to add a thick bevel along the inside. So starting from the outside of the eye, I'm just going to pull this up and in towards that seam and come down. Also want to do the same thing across the bottom of the eye. Coming down. Round this out, and bend that in. Now I'm just going to mirror that over on the right side. Just bending that up, coming down, you see that we're just layering on the details as we go. So it helps to start with the basic shapes first and just kind of spread the detail out. So not spending too much time in the eyes, just want to keep moving around the head. I'm going to add that thick trim around that patch around the eyes. Start from the top, just working our way around. Add a few more wrinkles across the head, just to break up that large space that we have across the mask. Going back, we're just going to add that band across the neck. Now we're going to add some shape and depth to our drawing by adding in our shadows. We want to imagine that the light's coming from the top left of our page going across our characters, so the shadows will sit on the bottom right side with the highlights along the top left. So I switched to my 2mm pencil. I use the flat edge. Let's start along the outside of this bevel. Starting underneath the eyelid, it's going to darken that up. Now this will probably be one of the darkest points of our drawing. Coming in, then going dark as we come in towards the inside of the eye. Let's do the same thing on the right. Darken that up. I'm just going to gradually fade that out towards the side. Let's add a little bit of shadow just along the bottom, and just fading that in. Also from the inside, going out. Now we're going to add a light shade to the inside of that trim. Starting from the top, and just working this down. And this will be the base of those patches. These areas are darker than the rest of the mask. So just making sure we get the right tones first. Now I want to push this area of the eye in. So we're going to push this into shadow, starting from the side of the eye. I'm just going to go darker as it comes down underneath this bevel. Go darker. Coming in. I'm just going to fade that up. So this inside area is going to reflect the light. I'm just going to go around this little trim along the bottom. A little bit darker. Now let's move over towards the right side. Now this side is going to be more in shadow. It's blocked by that center line. Just going to darken that up. Going out. Leaving a little bit of highlight underneath the eye. Now let's darken out that center seam and then fade that out. From the inside of the brow, fade that up towards the top. Same thing on the right. For that center seam, just darken up the right side, coming down. Now I'm going to gradually push the shadow over towards the right, starting from the center, and darken that up underneath the brow, and then fade that down towards the nose. Now right here, it's going to add some shape to the nose by darkening up the right side, and then fading that up, and then blending that down. Let's blend the shadow. So it's going to soften this up, going around the edge of the nose. Now with the side of the head, we want to leave a little bit of a highlight. Just pull that shadow coming in around the jaw and cheeks, and then fade that up. I'm just going to add that little highlight along the right side and then blend that up towards the top. Now this center of the brow is going to be pulled in towards the shadow, so we'll just darken that up and then fade that up towards the highlight. And I can really push the shape of the head by adding these subtle shadows, just going around the brow. You see that we bumped this out. It's adding a few lines and wrinkles across that center seam. I'm just going to darken up the area just underneath the chin. Now this is pushed into shadow. And it's going to fade that out towards that edge. So the highlight's going to capture some of that area on the side of the neck. And we'll darken up that strap. And these straps are going to cast a shadow across the body, so darkening that up just underneath, and then fading that down. So this is going to help lift that shoulder pad off. Just add a rough shade on the inside. Now going back to our 0.9mm pencil, it's going to clean up our shading. So just really tightening up these lines and contrast. I'm just going to push that shadow a little bit more on the right side. So going a little bit darker. let's go back to our fine pencil and start adding a little bit of texture inside the mask. So we're going to start with this angled line, going up and out, just across the highlight areas very subtly, and then go across in the opposite direction from top to bottom. And we want to work on each section separately. So we're going to move out to the jaw. And this doesn't have to go everywhere. It's going to go along some of these areas in the highlight. Add a few fine wrinkles across the mask. Now as we get near the end, we're just going to tighten up our shadows and add a little bit more detail, and always be sure to sign our artwork, and that's pretty much it. There's a sketch portrait illustration of Deadpool. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. What's up everyone, and welcome to our club memberships. Are you ready to take your art skills to the next level? Well, I've got something special just for you. Introducing our channel membership, starting at only $1 per month. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you'll get exclusive access to a world of bonus features and perks that will enhance your journey with me. As a member, you'll be treated to brand new weekly tutorials that are available only to our valued members. Want to learn the latest techniques and dive deeper into the topics I cover? This is your chance. You'll also gain access to our member-only community feed, where you can connect with fellow members, share your progress, and participate in exclusive polls. Your voice matters, and I want to hear from you. And let's talk about the perks. You'll receive a set of custom chat emojis to use during our live streams and premieres, adding a personal touch to your interactions with me. Plus, you'll proudly showcase your support with special member badges that highlight your dedication. But wait, there's more. As a member, you'll get access to future perks I roll out. I'm constantly working behind the scenes to bring you even more exclusive content, surprises, and experiences. So join our channel membership today and become a part of our exclusive community. For just $1 per month, you'll unlock a world of premium content, engagement, and fun. Click that join button now, and let's embark on this exciting journey together.